So speaking of getting cut out, you had Bree on your podcast. I listened to it. She sounded great and up in arms. You guys watched the finale. How was that? What did you think of AFR? Did she drop any dimes about how she felt about not being on since we don't have her on?
Well, she was very, kind of gave me because I was like, when we started watching it, well, Michelle came on first, right? And then Emmanuel was like, oh, up next, we're going to talk to Rachel. And I'm just thinking in my head, well, when are we going to see Bree? And I went to Bree. I was like, weren't you, like, when do we see you? She's like, well, I was there, And I'm like, were you edited out? And she's like, yeah. And I kind of made a joke, I kind of made a joke. Well, that's great news for me since you're on my podcast, but I do feel bad.
Right. But you got the exclusive, basically.
Bria was really gracious and I think I understand her frustration, right? Like, she's got a story to tell, and it was deemed not as entertaining or for whatever reason by the producers, and there's always a lack of time. I get it, right? And but she was gracious. She seemed to understand that. She didn't seem resentful or anything, but appropriately annoyed, I think would be the fair thing to say, as anyone would be. But yeah, she was. It sounded like she only spoke with Emmanuel. She didn't have a sit down with Matt.
Okay.
And didn't talk with him. And it sounded like like Michelle. She talked a lot about AFR. Was she didn't have the closure from Matt that she wanted and deserved when Matt broke up with her, and Bree felt differently for herself, where when whatever conversation she had with Matt while filming, it did in fact allow her to move on and accept Matt's decision and be okay.
That's great. That's really good to hear.
All right, so
I love that. Thank you for that, Nick.
Hey, thank you for asking, Natasha.